from a few of you. We don't have time to hear from everybody, but I'd love to hear the answer to the question, if you guys don't have this. Why are you here? Why did you decide to come here today? What are you hoping to leave with? What brought you here? What do you want to leave with? But
mind reset, I'd like to, I think we're kind of stuck, you know, one or two houses, kind of stuck. I'd like to jumpstart that, get a whole kind of a change in attitude, saying, let's figure out a way to be pretty something, move forward.
cool. So you feel a little stuck, like mindset wise, you're like, man, we need to change a few things. We want to be doing 3, not 2 houses a month, right? Okay, cool. Good thing is like, again, it's not rocket science, right? It comes back to some of the activities that we'll touch on. Great.
Because it's all in the name, mid-year reset. And I love how you capitalize the reset. With January and February, the way they were,
Yeah.
whether you couldn't do business because of the weather or your clients couldn't, everyone's a little mixed up.
Yeah.
And now that it took off May, June, and it's crazy, bonkers again, that reset is perfect.
Yeah.
We just did our 135s, our GPS, from now to the end of the year.
Yep.
Let's just make it up. Let's
Yes.
make sure you're following that, your strategies and all that. So that's why I'm here, just to learn.
Great.
I'm a life student.
Yes, you are.
And you're good at what you do, so.
Thank you very much. Come on in. Good to see you guys. Yeah, you know, if you've never heard, I'm a wealth of resources. It's an Enneagram 5. Learning is my top strength on Strength Finders, and I just have like lots of useless information up here. But this one's useful. 12-month year, 12-week year. That's a great book. And it changed our lives, Caleb and I, when he read it first. I'm like, whatever. And then it came up in maps. And I was like, oh. So instead of looking at the year as 12 months, which we all know, oh, I've got time. I've got time. No, you don't. Take it from 12 months to 12 weeks and it changes everything. So highly recommend that mindset, even if you don't read the book, the mindset of a 12-week year and running at that pace will change a lot of things. All right, one more person. Why are you here? I'd love to hear from somebody I don't know. Your name?
Stephanie.
Stephanie.
I'm a very new agent, so the reason I'm here is just to absorb as much as I can from all around.
Great.
Peers, you, everybody. So that's simple, but yeah.
Who else is here that has been in the business less than 2 years? Okay, real quick. If you take, like, I like to tell people when we do classes, there may be one thing you hear today. Coming in, correct. This is training, I just close it for the noise. If there's one thing, you may hear one thing today that changes everything, and that's all you need to do. And I'm gonna talk about being present in a second, but this business is as simple as how many people can you talk to every day? If you're not comfortable talking to 5 to 10 people every business day, 5 days a week, 40 some weeks a year, and I'll be honest, I wasn't. When I first got into this business, I was not comfortable with that. I had to be comfortable because I wasn't making enough money. We had 2 kids and a mortgage at the time, and I had to make it work. I had to. My wife wasn't working. I had to. So I did. And then I built a team, and I was like, you know what? I don't ever want to go back to that again. That's not my personality. I recognize that. I chose a different career. So it is a matter of it's as simple as can you talk to 5 to 10 people a day, every business day. And if you do that, and trust me, over 6,000 coaching conversations in the last 8 years, it really is that simple stuff. So, and building a database that's like that. Okay, Nicole, good to see you. All right, so let's get moving here. I want to challenge you guys to be agree to be fully present. So let me tell you what that means. Phones, do not disturb. I may have an alarm that goes off about a client, so forgive me for that. I don't want to turn them off, but I hold clients accountable. It's one thing a great coach does. Number 2 is your laptops and computers. You are not going to need them today. If you have a pen and paper, great. If you're gonna have them open and you're not on the back row, just make sure you're just taking notes because the people behind you can see what you're doing and you'll distract them if you're not taking notes. And just let's be fully present and participate. I love participating. Participation is actually, it's gonna be required, not in an awkward way, I promise. But it is actually what helps you learn. You participate and have conversations with other people, you will learn better, which is what I incorporate into what I do as a trainer. Next, a quick note about the prep. There's a packet that was sent out to everybody. Ideally, you would have filled that out ahead of time. I know realtors, and I love you all, but most people won't do that, and that's okay. However, I will say this, a business, which y'all are running, if you're in real estate, you run a business. I don't care if you're on a team or not, you're running a business, and a business knows their numbers. That packet is about knowing your numbers, it's also about knowing a little bit more than that. It's also about knowing yourself. So there are some fantastic questions in there. I highly recommend after today, you go through it. It's something I take all of my coaching clients through. One of my top clients is out of the DC, Maryland area. I make them do this too. They sell about 600 homes a year, 7 million in GCI. They're in the top 10 in all the Keller Williams. All right, they do the same thing. You need to know the numbers. So that packet's very important. So we're gonna reference it, but we're not gonna go through it. All right, we're gonna reference some of it. And it's okay, you don't need to have filled it out to get a lot from today. It's okay. All right. First 6 months are done. They don't get a vote in the second half. All right, it's done. Put it away. Whatever happened, happened. You can let it go and, channel your inner Elsa and let it go. And just let's look at it. However, we can learn a lot from the last 6 months, which is part of what we're gonna do today. So regardless of what your thinking is about the last 6 months, about your shoulds or coulds or whatever, right? Let's look at them without judging ourselves and say, okay, what can I learn? What did it teach me about who I am and what the business is about this year? And like Greg said, the market shifted, it didn't disappear. The weather here in January, February was not fun. I mean, it's kind of not fun now, but in a different way. It was a slower winter, weather, timing, whatever. However, as business owners, we're not going to be victims to the market. Let's decide together to be intentional about what we do. Whether the market is slow or not, 5 to 10 conversations a day, build a pipeline so that you can forecast where your business is, run your business as a business. And when you get to a certain point, probably somewhere around $50,000 to $75,000, you should have a P&L or some sort of, financial tracking, right? So the first half is over and the next half is a choice, like I had said there. And I also want to outline, look, this is not about doing more. Today's going to be different. Like most business planning clinics, like when you think about Gene Rivers or whatever, he goes over, sometimes the one off the shelf anyways, about a lot of numbers. So today is not necessarily going to be about numbers. So it's also not about doing more. A lot of times, and at least if you've experienced maps coaching or other coaching, a lot of times they're like, oh, welcome, come on in, grab a seat. It's like, oh, well, what would need to happen for you to 10x your results? And there's a place for that. That's okay to think bigger. However, what we know from science is that if you're going to grow, that 10% is your growth edge, just a little bit. If you're looking, has anybody read James Clear's Atomic Habits? A few of us. Highly recommend that book. In there, if I remember correctly, he talks about building a habit of going to the gym. Those of you that read it, do you remember what he says about the first thing to do? What was it? Julie, do you remember?
Going to the gym floor?
Nope, I don't think it was. It's even before that. Yes. Put on your gym shoes. It's just put your, he doesn't even say go to the gym. Just put your shoes on. I don't know about you, but I'd feel pretty silly if I just put my gym shoes on and didn't go to the gym. And if I remember correctly, it's been a while. I think one of the next steps is get in the car. Don't go anywhere. But then get in the car next and go to the gym. Don't even go in. It's like it's this psychological game we can play with ourselves because, and who has taken bold here? Does anybody remember the mental model of PT FAR, point FAR? Programming leads to thoughts, leads to feelings, leads to actions, leads to results, and then those results reinforce our programming. So what we want to do with our growth edge is say, I want to make it so that, yes, it pushes me. I don't want it to be a cakewalk, but I want it to be enough that I can reinforce the results. So I have a client right now, Irfan, he's out of Houston, he's out of Dallas, and his struggle is consistency. Can anybody identify with consistency struggling? Yeah. So what we've been doing for the last 9 months is there's a minimum number that he knows he needs to hit on a daily, weekly basis. But he's committing to something a little bit higher than that every day. He's telling me what his commitment is. And slowly but surely, we're reinforcing the belief in his head, because he had other beliefs before, but he's reinforcing the belief that, hey, I can be consistent and I can do more, and it's becoming easier. So you think about growth in that manner, and that's what like this is about. It's like, look, if a ship or a plane, either one, changes their course just 1% or 1 degree, eventually they're gonna be, it's the difference, like, I don't know, where the explorers, when they first left Spain or whatever, they were supposed to end up somewhere, but they ended up somewhere else. And it's like 1% can make a big deal. So you don't need to make a 10x, I don't need to start talking to 30 or 40 people a day. That's first unrealistic, that's not sustainable. You just need to course out like, hey, what are the 1 or 2 corrections that really will help me grow? So I'm curious, I'd love to hear from you guys before we move on. What are some of the biggest challenges you're facing or that you feel you're facing right now in your business and in this market? Julie.
This year, intentionally, I'm changing to the buyers to the listing agent side. I definitely don't know how to tackle those conversations and some obstacles with the shifting market. So I focus more on that.
Okay.
That's the challenge that I'm having, like how
Being
much
more
to do,
listings
how much to
first.
do more for once listing is on the market, how much to do more
Yeah.
with a non-sitting or something like
Yeah.
that I'm really focused on what my strategy should be.
Okay. So you're going from being heavily, your business being more buyers to being more listings.
Yeah.
Why?
Because listings, like everybody tells me that listings makes you money or in the business. I never believed it last 5 years. I was still doing okay with 80% buyers, but I still not convinced that listings is a business.
Mhm.
I don't trust that, but still take time.
And how much of your time do you get back when you work with listings versus buyers?
So I love my buyers because it's like 5 showings is my record. So it's not about like how people hear the stories that you're 2 years showing the homes now. It's
Yeah.
like really very focused because I've done that part. They're
And-
not like definitely successful
Yeah.
buyers.
And so here's what I just heard. If you're new or you show more than 5 or 6 homes to a buyer before getting them under contract, talk to her about what she does.
Only 5 max
Right.
showings.
Yeah. When we were running a team, we were saying somewhere between 6 and 8. Like if you're showing 6 or 8, 6 to 8 homes, you should have enough. Welcome, come on in. That should be enough time to help them make a buying decision. It shouldn't be 20, 30 homes.
No.
However, listings do give you your time back. All right. What's your name?
So, my name's Christine, and I'm very new. I have a license for a little over 90 days.
Great,
So I think, thank you. I think my number one problem is my impatience. So I've been hearing 2 years a lot lately, and I like hearing that, because then it calms me down. Instead of thinking like, oh, everyone's selling a house in 3 days. But I think my thing is, like, I don't wanna make $1 million. If I make up 100,000 a year, I would be thrilled. Like, I feel like so I do need that 1% of, because I have no problem talking to 10, 20, 30 people.
Awesome.
But it feels like I'm just like, not necessarily hitting a wall, but nothing comes from it. Like they call, they'll call forever. But I'm like, I just need, like you said, that 1%
Yeah.
movement of what can I do different.
Sometimes I feel like a doctor. Christine?
Yeah.
Christine.
Chris is easy.
Chris, okay, cool, that's fine.
It's
Chris. I'll give you, like, I feel like a doctor because I'll give out prescriptions, you take it for what it's worth, but most people give up right before they're about to succeed, especially in this business. It
That's
takes
how I feel.
time,
Like
yeah.
you feel like you're like, I'm like, it's
What I'm
right
doing
there,
isn't
I can
working.
feel it.
Yeah.
And
So
then
it's-
the next day you're like, forget it.
Time on task over time. And if you did one thing maybe differently is when you're talking with people, just ask them if they own a home. And then if they do, hey, just curious, if you were to move, when would you move next? Because most of us, if we have a database, say 300 people, the numbers tell us that when you communicate with your database well, 36 touch, 8 by 8, all that stuff, roughly the numbers these days are 1 in 10. You can count pretty, and it might take a few years to get there, but that's 30 deals if there's 300 people. and that's over $100,000. But it takes time to get there, and if I knew, one of the things when we were, like around 2018, 2019, we were trying to do with our database is find out everybody in our database, when are they planning on moving next? Because if I knew someone was planning on moving in 2027, guess what? Right now, in the middle of 26, I'd be talking to them, hey, remember you saying a few years ago, you want kids are graduating, whatever, and they go on my pipeline, right? A pipeline is that document that you put names, you can put, anybody that wants to know this later can message me, but you can quantify it so you can say, hey, I know I have enough people in Q1 of 2027 to hit my goals. Like, it's the idea of a pipeline. Don't just lead gen for today, lead gen for the future too. So, by the way, just remember, I just put together like a field guide, and you probably know some of what's in there, but there's a couple documents plus a 6-part video series on pricing. Actually, I don't call it pricing, it's market positioning.
Positioning.
So email me and I'll send that to you.
Yep, I
So,
got it.
all right, one more person. Yes.
You know, after 12 years, what I
Your
did-
name, so everybody can.
Saeed from Devon Wing, yeah. After 12 years, I had to walk back and look at all my numbers, and I see average person I sold was 6 years. Now, people are staying in their home for 11 years.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to, with the help of team and perspective, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
To walk that back follow-up system, because if I know somebody's gonna move to 10, 12 years,
Yep.
I better have some sort of relationship, because I have enough in my database to have at least 5 to 10 conversations every week that leads me to the $100,000 income.
Yeah. Here's the good news. I mean, so many people, and this is real for some positions, so many people are fearful of AI. Oh, my job or whatever. And yeah, there are some jobs that are gonna be transformed. Some may be eliminated. You know, if you're an admin in any business, I would be learning AI like the dickens, like, because you wanna know how to utilize that to make you more valuable. But here's the flip side of that, is that as we see, like my son who just graduated high school, I did this for my oldest, I did it for him at the ceremony to kind of say, hey, you're moving on to college, you're kind of an adult, not 100% yet, but you're kind of an adult, so do this like ceremony to like initiate him into that. And I wrote down remarks to share with them. There were other guys there that were sharing remarks, and at the end of it, I was like, of course I'm crying as I'm sharing it with them, but I was like, and I didn't use AI to write this because he hates AI. As technology replaces the human in many cases, we, in our business, have a great opportunity to keep the human a part of it. And guess what? That's as easy as picking up the phone and saying, hey, I was thinking of you, how are you doing? Right? Because there's so much AI content out there, you wonder if somebody posts something, is that real, is it not real? And it's like, we had the chance to care, and as that AI, and social media already did this, it made us so much more individualistic and farther apart than it ever did before. We have the opportunity in our business to bring us back together in community. And community is crucial to who we are as human beings. In fact, we can't change unless we have community. It's a proven fact. So we've got to have other people to help us. All right, before I move into some fun stuff, any questions, thoughts, anything you picked up already from what we discussed today already? I want to hear what you're hearing. Yes, say your name and then.
Tom Maui, where are you going to college?
They both are going, well, Kutztown.
Okay.
Yeah. The one's in animated arts, which I was asking, like, are they talking about AI? And they're not. I'm like, if they're not doing it this year, I might have to talk to the school. But yeah, and then the other one's going for entrepreneurship, which is pretty cool. That's all. Yeah. Emery.
I think from you and from the audience, my two takeaways this morning are success is really right there for most people. They just can't see it, and I think it's hard and frustrating, and I understand that. And for some people, right, it could just be a 1% course correction, which is why it's really important to stay in contact with the office, the people in the office or coaches, because it could just be an adjustment of tonality or what you're saying that could make all the difference.
Yeah, and let me just do a plug for X and Westchester Devon Wayne. I've coached agents across the country. And I mean this, I'm not just like blowing smoke. Cindy and the team at these offices have created one of the best, if not the best, Keller Williams culture that I've seen. And I mean that. So stay plugged in here. Don't just sit at home and do things from home. Be here, because doing stuff like this, I commend all of you that are here and Nicole and anybody else that's online to, that you're doing this, right? You're being a part of a community. And we're gonna talk about accountability and coaching before we're done. We need that as people. Again, we can't change unless we have community and that ability to share something and hear something back. Real quick for Pat. Self-assuredness is one of my top 5 learning, Clifton Strengths Finder Strengths 2. However, self-assured says, I know I'm right. How do you think that goes with my wife? Right. So I'm a slow learner, but it's like, okay, I need to learn. And one of the guys on Sunday with the ceremony that I did for my son was saying, you have to stay in that position of conscious incompetence, of not knowing. Just assume you don't know, even if you know something. There's always something to learn, and you may miss, if you think you know, you may miss something that's important. Go ahead, Pat.
I love your 12-week year comments, because what that shows all of us who take part in whatever kind of business planning you do or not, we think, oh my God, I'm driving to California. I'm barely at Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And what you said was, you can accordion it for a smaller period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And think about going on vacation. When you have less time, don't you get more done?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you think about, oh, I only have to think about 12 weeks. I'm just doing Valley Forge Mountain, not something in Colorado.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that.
Oh, you're welcome. I listen to and read a lot of things, listen to these days, but there was a professor that said that he would assign pages to students and they would hardly ever do the readings. But then he changed it and said, okay, I want you to spend 1 hour only doing the reading. And they would read more than the pages he would have assigned. So the key there is focus, and like the one thing says, getting rid of distractions, saying only doing one thing, right? Bringing that focus in. All right, any last thoughts before we get into some fun? Okay, cool. Interrupt me at any point. All right, so let's talk about the patterns behind performance. This is a huge thing that I think, look, MAPS coaches seriously are some of the best in the world. And I mean that. As I've looked outside of MAPS at coaching, and I have, MAPS does a fantastic job training our people. John Vandergenst, John BG, who's been a coach of mine for 8 years, knows his stuff. Come on in. Good to see you, man. And so much of it, like when you diagnose an issue, it's one of 3 things. It's an activities issue, a skills issue, or a mindset issue. In fact, as we go through today, I didn't put this in the slides, but you could consider, what's my issue? Is it an activities issue? Do I need to do more activities? Is it a skill set, right? How would you know it's a skill set issue? Those of you that have been in the business and study the numbers, what are you looking at? If it's a skill set issue, what might you look at?
Maybe conversion rates?
Yeah, perfect, you nailed it. Mr. Expert, absolutely. Conversion rates, that's a skill set. But the last one, mindset, is the hardest to deal with, and that takes the longest. Just like with what you're saying, it's like if the mindset is, this isn't happening fast enough, I'm impatient, I'm wasting my time. Usually when you're impatient, that's where your mind goes at the end of the day, it's a waste of time. And it's
I am grateful I'm not there yet, I still really enjoy, I guess, wasting my time.
oh no, it's not always.
I can spend hours with the AI and the marketing part, I love it, but then I had a friend tell me, yes, utilize your time, don't waste your time.
Yeah.
And then there's stuff, so then I think, okay, you're wasting time, you're having fun, you're playing, you're wasting time.
Yeah. Well, that's the difference between what Pat said about when you're going on vacation, it's the intention and focus.
Yeah.
Making sure that you're doing the right things. So let's talk about results are repeated behaviors. Repeated behaviors are driven by repeated thinking. And as you think, so you become. So from here forward, we are going to look at patterns right now, not necessarily mindset. We're going to talk about patterns. So first is repeated thinking. What's the story you keep telling yourself about the work, the market, yourself? Number 2 is repeated behavior, right? There's repeated thinking that leads to repeated behavior. And then the last one, like I said before about point card, that produces your results. So if you change the thinking, then the rest of the chain follows. And I do call this out later, but something I talk to my clients about a lot is awareness leads to choice. Choice leads to change. You cannot change unless you're aware. And awareness comes from sitting and thinking. So, and reflecting. And so let's look at the last 6 months. I want you guys to think specifically, and I want you to write down, right? What are some of those behaviors that have shown up that maybe weren't empowering to you, right? What are the behaviors? Then you could think, well, what's the thinking behind that, right? Like, if I'm always eating ice cream every night, it's like, that's the behavior, what's the thinking? The thinking might be like, man, I need this because I'm going through a stressful time, and really behind that is like, I need comfort, I feel 8 years old, and I was back in this situation where I needed that comfort, my parents were there, or whatever, right? So, not that you're gonna get that deep today, but I'm just saying, think about the behavior. Maybe it's avoiding lead generation. Maybe it's avoiding certain conversations. And then what was the thinking that was behind that? So I'm just gonna give you guys a minute. And I'm gonna turn on some thinking music. And I'm gonna let you guys write this down. And listen, I know real estate agents are fast and move very, very quickly. It's really important to slow down and reflect. So think about the last 6 months. Think about something that didn't go the way that you wanted to. And reflect on that for just a minute, okay? Just give yourself a minute to sit with your thoughts. Don't be afraid of them. They're not gonna hurt you most of the time. Just notice. Yeah. So what might be a behavior that showed up in the last 6 months that wasn't empowering or helpful? Something that got in the way that showed up repeatedly? And then ask yourself, what was the thinking? What were my thoughts when I was going through that? And start general. Maybe this is a waste of my time, or these people suck, or whatever. But then turn it to yourself, like, okay, what does this mean about you? Right? Not to scare you, you don't have to do this, but I'm gonna invite you to partner up in a minute and share that with each other. So write some things down. And you don't have to have the biggest, deepest thing, whatever it is. Whatever comes to mind. Yes?
And now, like already 90%, I think you go inside, 5%. And pretty much.
Consider
So strategy.
Consider a personal thing. I would focus on an area that maybe is people's improvement, that they would like to just, I'm sure nothing, I'm not. Everything's perfect. What's that? Yeah.
So I sometimes feel very sad.
Yeah, so think about this, right, that's an area you want to look at. So think about that, like from a behavior standpoint, like what other people with that kid or cat you can get all these things. And what's the big deal, that's a good area.
Yeah.
I'll give you another 30 seconds. Yeah, there's the prompt. Sorry about that. Who would like a little bit more time? It's okay if you do. I'm not rushing anybody. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. This is where the learning gets real. This is where things get fun. It's gonna get loud, okay? And what I'm gonna ask you to do is when I prompt you, I'm gonna prompt you to switch partners, and I'm gonna prompt you when we've got 30 seconds, and when we're time to end, let's end. All right, so we can stay on time. So what I want you to do is find a partner. Probably somebody sitting next to you with them. All right, don't talk yet, don't talk yet. So this is important, listen to the instructions, okay? You're going to start, partner A, whoever that is gonna start and share what they wrote down. Partner B, this is important. Y'all, this is not advice. You're not giving advice, you're not judging, you're listening. Then what you wanna do is when they're done, hopefully within about 2 minutes, I'll give you about 2 minutes to share. So this isn't life story, it's 2 minutes. Partner B is gonna reflect back, here's what I heard. And maybe there's something you identified with, right? I can identify with your, how you struggle with calling your SOI or whatever, whatever that is. Something that helps partner A feel seen, heard, or felt. No fixing, no advice. And then I'll prompt you guys when it's time to make sure that you're listening, you're actively listening. And then when to switch. So partner B will share and A will listen. All right, I'll give you about 2 minutes each, 30 seconds to reflect back. Any questions on that, on what we're about to do? Before I release you to do that, I encourage you to play all in on this. Don't hide, do your best. If there's something sensitive, obviously, be intelligent about that, but share with your partner. Because I promise you, what we're sharing in here is probably very common among what we're gonna say here, okay? So, I'm gonna give you about 10 seconds to find your partner. If you're married or you know each other, find a different one. Find a different one. All right, go ahead, find your partner. Partner A, wrap it up. Partner B, listen back. Actively listen. What did you hear? And then you can, share with them and then partner B. right, Parker B, wrap up the reflection. Now it's time for Parker B to share what they wrote. Partner A, reflect back, so second to that. All right, wrap it up. Let's bring it back. I knew it's not hard to get you guys talking. The problem is getting you to be quiet. All right, bring it back, wrap up your sentence, and let's go back together here. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, here's what we're gonna do. I wanna hear from you guys. Don't share a secret if your partner shares something really important to them and it's not appropriate to share out loud, fine, don't share that. But I wanna hear, what happened, what did you hear? What were some of the patterns that came up? Whether you heard it from your partner or it was your pattern, right? Because chances are what is gonna be named, other people are experiencing it too. And so 1, this helps us understand we're not alone. 2, it helps us understand we've got a community to rely on, and we don't have to do this alone. The last thing you want to think, and this happens a lot, is like, oh, I'm alone in this. No, you're not. It's very common. Whatever your fears are, you're dealing with, you're not alone. So let me hear from maybe 3 folks who would like to share. What did you guys talk about? What came up? And then we'll go here and there. Yeah.
Oftentimes we have a plan, we go into it, and the path that we are seeking to go is not perfect.
Yeah.
And either we give up or we go sideways or we try to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
And you just have to make sure you have patience, calmness, and follow through 1% at a time.
Yeah. Anybody identify with that? Feel like that's something that we can.
Yeah.
Okay, next. Your name?
Claire,
Claire.
I think a common theme that I heard in kind of both of our conversations was avoidance is, and our justification for avoidance is pretty prevalent in all of our lives.
Yeah.
And even though we know it and we logically can say, oh, I really need to fill this with this, we can't help but justify it, and our thinking kind of forms that whatever we're avoiding.
Yeah, I see that a lot. Anybody have you heard of or are familiar with internal family systems? Yeah, I'm not terribly familiar, I haven't studied it, but I know enough about it. The theory is like we have it living in us, not multiple personalities, but like versions of ourselves. And a lot of times when I'm working with clients, the shadow version of themselves shows up and says something like, you suck, or this is a waste of time, or, you're gonna fail, whatever it is. And we'll talk about this a little bit later, but when you name that, holy cow, the power in naming, like whatever's causing you to avoid, you differentiate yourself from that. It allows you to really have power over it. So, and I think behind, what was your name?
Maggie. Getting complacent with our opportunities and not being prepared, not staying on the ball. It doesn't matter if they're for 10 years or family members, but staying on the ball of who you are and your professionals and your services and where you want to, go with that person or any person.
Yeah.
Just getting complacent.
Yeah. So avoidance, complacency, right? I'm sure a lot of us can identify with that. And I'd love to hear from one person on this side of the room. Who would like to share? Yes.
I think
Name.
Jonathan. I think that our recurring themes like self-sabotage in some instances. You like understanding, I think you justify it, the avoidance.
Yep.
And you're really just you're in your own head, it's not something that's actually there.
Yeah. So it's very strong. All of us have some sort of sabotage. Even those of us that are the competitive achiever that just, my youngest is that way, like she hates to lose. And that's great until it isn't. Hammer, when you are trying to move glass, is not a good thing. And so like I see in that type of personality in the active controller, workaholism a lot. They have a hard time slowing down and letting go. And that's not good. That personality trait is great. And what matters is the internal dialogue, that voice in their head that drives them. I mean, the one client I was referring to earlier, we've worked on that a lot. Like that voice in her head that, comes from when she was younger. So that's why I'm getting into this, because you can talk about having more conversations or a different database all you want. You can look at the economic model, the lead generation model, all of that. But unless you really understand what's keeping you from achieving that up here, you're not going to move beyond it. It's just a fact. So we've got to address that. So I hope what you're hearing, what everybody's hearing here, is like, hey, my experience is pretty normal. And we can use each other to help with that. And it's why a coach is so powerful. A great coach is a mirror. They reflect back to you what they hear you saying that you're not aware of yourself. I mean, that's how I look at my job, is to hold the mirror up to my client. And did you hear what you just said? Like, is that really what you want? Or they show up to the fifth call in a row and they haven't done what they said they were going to do. And I ask, well, you made that commitment. Why was that important to you? Is it still important? What's really going on? Holding that mirror up so they start to see themselves. And a great coach will help you do that. Okay. Before lunch, one exercise I'd like to do, we have about 10 minutes. I'll try to hit it on time. We'll see. Now let's take the next 6 months and build into a pattern that's simple enough to actually repeat, right? Remember that 1% that I was talking about? So we're going to build the plan, not a whole lot of things, but the first thing we're going to focus on is how many days do you actually have between now and the end of the year, right? Kind of like the 6-week or 12-week work year. So I want you to write this down right now. I don't know what your schedules are, I'm gonna do what you're going with, so your business days are gonna be different than, Chris's. Yeah, so let's write this down. How many days, it's not July 1st, we're what, July 15th? So how many days do we have right now? That 184 may not be exactly right. 169, okay, something like that. How many days do you have? Now, how many weekends? I don't count weekends as work days. I know as realtors, we work on the weekend, that's fine. But a work day in the life of a realtor is a lead generation day. Unless you're behind, you shouldn't necessarily plan on lead generating on the weekend. In fact, I fully believe every single one of you should have a day a week you don't work. And it's possible, I coach people to that, it can be done. It's not easy, but it can be done. So weekends, take out the weekends, right? If there's 6 months, 12, 24 weekends, 48 days, somewhere around there. And then there's holidays. We've got Labor Day, take that out. I know we've got, and depending on what your holidays are, you can have different holidays that I'm not familiar with. I know with Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, what was that?
Halloween.
Halloween? Sure, sure. I know it's a holiday for my kids, man, they love it. And then vacation. Hopefully y'all are having some sort of vacation in the second half of the year. And if you're not, that's okay, no judgment. And then the last number, and this is in the packet, by the way, there's a page for this. Life. I want you to take out at least 5 days for life. Because we all know the kids get sick, we hurt ourselves, something comes up and we can't work. Which, by the way, a work day in the life of a realtor, what's the one thing that has to happen in a work day of a life of a realtor?
Closing.
Lead generation, not closings, lead generation. If you don't lead generate, you don't have closings. So if you don't lead generate, it technically isn't a work day. And I know some people argue with me, fine, you can argue with that. But if you don't lead generate, you're not gonna have business, end of story. So if life will show up, right? So take off at least 5 days from your total. And I do wanna hear from you guys on how many days you have, because everybody's gonna be a little bit different.
104.
104. Who knows Phineas and Ferb? Is that what it is, 104 days, summer vacation? Like I said, there's a lot of things up there, so that's what you're gonna get.
Funny that it
Phineas and Ferb.
happened in my.
Yeah, 104,
Yeah.
104. All right, 104, who else, say 89. 89, Judy, 44, okay. What else, let me hear a few other ones, 111, 111, 102.
Wait, you said 111? You're getting married.
Uh-oh.
2
It's on a
weeks.
weekend. Oh, you're right, take two.
You're on a honeymoon, right, I hope at some point.
Yeah, that's a bit of a, why'd you have to call me out for that?
Oh, sorry. Immediately, I'm like, whoa.
Alright, 107.
All right, great.
I have 110, but if it's for getting business, you know, it shows up 90 days later.
All right, hold on, shh, bring it back, one conversation at a time, Greg, say that again.
So I have 110 days, but if it's to get business, I gotta shorten that by 2/3.
Yeah.
Because I only have that much time to be able to get stuff to get done, to finish by the end of the year.
You're doing my job for you, thank you.
I'm sorry, I did whatever you did.
No, it's all good. But that's why I had you say it again, because guess what? In this area, when is the last day you could reasonably put somebody under contract and they would close this calendar year?
December 29th?
Nope.
No.
Reasonably,
October 31st.
yeah.
Yeah.
November 1st, October 31st.
Yeah.
When is the last day you could meet with somebody for a listing or buyer appointment and reasonably expect to get them under contract by?
December 1st.
Yeah, well, but if you work backwards, the meeting date would be like what, October 15th?
Yeah.
Right? So we really only have until middle of October to finish our lead generation year, okay? So keep that in mind. And if you back that out, then how many days do you have left? Right, because if the math is pretty simple. Most of the time, for about every 50 conversations an agent has, if they're average, they will close a deal. So if you have to have those, let's say you want 10 closings, right? So that's 500 conversations, divided by however many days before October 15th. Probably October 1st, actually. And it's like, oh, that's how many conversations I need to have. Now everybody's conversion rate might be different. I have clients that are 25 conversations to one closing, some are 100 to one closing. That's why you need to know your numbers. But if you don't know your numbers, 50 to 1 is a good place to start. Okay, so 11:55. I don't know, 55 minutes, good. So before we go to break, here's what I want you to do. We're gonna apply, what is the one thing? All right, what's the one thing you can do between now and October 15th, October 31st? And link this into what we did before, like what might have gotten in the way? What's those patterns you looked at earlier? What's that pattern, and what is the one thing that you can do to help make that pattern not interrupt you or keep you from your goals? Right? What is that one thing? Maybe it is protecting your lead generation time. Maybe it's creating a list of people. I was just talking with one of my clients. She has 400 people in her Mets, and she is buckling down on DTD2, and what we determined was she needs to reach out to 7 people a day every quarter. If she did that 5 days a week, 10 weeks a quarter, she will hit all of her 400 people, at least reaching out to them. So what's the one thing you can do, right? And think about that outcome from a measurable standpoint. And the second question here is, what's the lead generation activity that makes everything else easier? And then the last question is, what will you stop doing? So first, write this down. Number, a date, a name. Vague is not a plan. Feelings, that's a feeling, and feelings don't ship. So what are you gonna do? What's the measurable activity you're gonna focus on? So think about it for a moment and write it down. I've got 2 more questions for you before we hit lunch. So an example might be like, hey, if you don't, look, conversations. If you want to sell a certain number of homes, you can make up, oh, I've got to do this many social media posts or whatever. That's all smoke, guys. And seriously, it comes down to conversations. And I know we hear it a lot. We've been around a while. I've been in this 20 years. But time and time again, I would be a negligent coach or trainer if I just didn't say, look, you don't know what your conversation goal is. You need to. That's the one thing I would say. Look, how many people do you need to talk to? Right? And you can use the 50 to 1. 50 conversations to 1 closing. So if you want to close 6 more homes, that's 600. Yeah, 600 people. Divide that into the number that you just wrote down. And that gives you how many people you need to connect with. Connect with, right? Connect with, not just text and not get an answer back, but connect with.
Is this something consistently doing, or just one thing that you think that you would get that?
Yeah, so you have to,
So like it's one thing that I'm doing every day, one thing? Or
Ideally,
Ideally.
it is a pattern. It's a behavior that you're reinforcing a routine, right? So it should be consistent that you're doing. Now, maybe your plan is something where it's like, it is one thing, it is one and done, and that makes everything else easier or unnecessary. I'm encouraging you to consider conversations at least, right? And that kind of is like, hey, what's the one lead gen activity that makes everything else easier? If everything else dropped and this one activity would still produce conversations that produce clients, that's your one thing. And then here's the last one before we have Mike come up and share with us. What's something that you're gonna stop doing? Right, that's almost sometimes can be more important than what you are going to do. What are you going to stop doing? Right, so I said ice cream every night, right? If I wanted to lose weight and I'm eating ice cream every night, I need to reduce it to at least maybe once a week. I'm gonna stop eating ice cream every day. Maybe it's for you, it's like, hey, I'm not going to look at social media until I have my 5 or 6 connections. There's a reason Gary tells us we should do lead generation first thing, because it's the one thing that matters most. Until you get that done, everything else you do is a threat to your goals. That social media post, that, whatever you're, going to, not necessarily visiting the gym, if you do that before, like at 5:30 or 6 in the morning, but like, look, real talk, it's like, these things are threats to your goals. If you have a goal to make $100,000 and that's gonna allow you to live a decent, comfortable life, but on a Tuesday, you choose to go to the pool instead, you're saying that I don't need to make $100,000, and it's okay. And then when you repeat that over and over, and it's like, okay, if I'm gonna do that 20% of the time, are you okay with making $80,000? Right? This is where we've got to get real with ourselves, guys. Don't not listen to this. Write this stuff down. Be very clear with this. Okay. So, where are we in time? Okay, it's 12 o'clock. 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes. Hopefully you all have written something down. I see a lot of blank stares. If you didn't, take 10 seconds down, write it down, because we're going to chair again. I want you to go back to the partner, and this should be very quick. What's the one thing you're going to do, and listen to this. What did you write down? And what's one thing you can do to help make it inevitable? Call it the Thanos rule. Right? What's the one thing you're going to do to make it inevitable that you do this? Maybe it's an accountability partner, hiring a coach. Maybe it's like, hey, I'm gonna brick my phone until 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. And what's the thing you're gonna do to help make it much more likely that you're gonna do this? Like, you could tell, like, if you wanna make $100,000 and part of that is taking your kids to Disney. You could tell your kids, hey, if I don't have my 5 conversations a day, we don't go to Disney. Ask me about it in the evenings. I guarantee you they will, right? So what are you gonna do to make it inevitable that you're gonna hit it? Okay, please write it down, because when you write it down, you are like 60% more likely to act if you did. So I'm gonna give you 10 seconds and then we're gonna partner up. That's good. Okay. Partner up. I'm gonna give you about 2 minutes, okay? So share what you wrote down and what you're gonna do to help you hit it. Three, two, one. All right, I know that was quick. I'd love to hear before we get lunch break. What'd you write down? What'd you guys come up with? I'll have to hear it from you. Don't worry about whether it's good or bad. Do it.
The one thing that I'm gonna do it, before after the not actually after but because Diwali is,
Yes.
we celebrate Diwali plant appreciation event. That lasts 5 years and never done it as an appreciation event.
Okay. What's the, have an idea of what the date will let that will be?
Oh, the 11th of November, in the Diwali, because I want to.
Now you have a flag in the sand to start working backwards to say, all right, we plan it. And guess what? When you do, I love events. We would do events with my team. It gives you the opportunity to have at least 7 connection points with your people for every event, right? It's instead of calling up and saying, hey, who do you know? It's like, I want to invite you. You need to come, right?
So my leader strategy is events once a month I meet, totally new random people, 50 people every month. That's the only thing I do for our generation. But now I never done that to, I got a lot of business from that. I never done that.
Cool.
This is going to be specifically for that.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you, Jude. Who else? Yes.
I'm an agent, so I go to open houses.
How many?
I guess I can, but my schedule kind of open up.
Okay. Are you hosting them or just going to?
Going to.
Okay. All right. So between now and like October 31st, that's what, that's 3.5 months. Do you think you could go to 10? Okay. Is 15 doable?
Sure about
Okay. So it's somewhere between 10 and 15. So maybe set the goal as around 12 or 13. and look for those. And brokers opens are a great way to do that too, you know, if it's during the week, depending on what your job situation is as a new agent. But yeah, I mean, now you have a measurable goal that you can write up somewhere. When I first started and took Bold, I wrote down some goals in 2009. I didn't look at them for 5 years, and I was like, oh, I did that, almost did that. Like, you're statistically like 40-some% more likely when you just write them down, which is why I had you do that earlier. But if you look at them regularly, it's like 75%. So, cool. One more person, Saeed, and then we'll go over here.
I actually worked down the date, today is my dad's 90th birthday, so I used that the date to look up, I came a number of 830 conversation, out of one out of 75, came out to a number that I wanna meet, and I have everything loaded up in, ChatGPT coding, so he's automating everything for me anytime I type it up.
Okay.
And he emails me every morning what my goals are, so, I worked it out in 90 days.
Cool, perfect. All right, over here, what's your name?
Karen.
Carrie.
I set a goal to be at consistently 10 conversations a day by October, so I'm increasing it like one a day.
Beautiful.
And I have an accountability partner that I will Venmo every night, some money if I don't do it.
Beautiful. Why didn't you tell me you're serious about it? Yeah, well, and if it's not painful enough to pay your friend, then you might have to find an enemy to. I've done that before, so thank you for sharing that. Listen, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic time bound, SMART goals. We're only fooling ourselves if it's just general, okay? So if you're real serious about hitting certain goals and making certain things happen, get specific, okay? All right, with that said, I'm gonna bring the second most important person to the front, who sponsored our, actually probably most important, sponsored our day today. So give him a hand, Mike.
My name's Mike Jarrett. I'm from Cocoon, not the remodeler. I know a lot of people say, hey, you're a remodeler, not the remodeling company. Saw you yesterday, right? Right. So, little bit about me. I've been in real estate for 16 years, a realtor for most of them. I've touched just about everything you can touch it. From fix and flips to investing to commercial real estate, lending, everything in between. As a realtor, does anyone here buy warranties at closing for their clients? So Cocoon is the evolution of a home warranty, that's what we like to say. As a realtor, I never liked buying a warranty, I'm just gonna be straight with you. Because for me, it was a sunken cost. And it was like, hey, here's a warranty, hope you don't have to use it, because if you do, that means your basement's flooded or you have no AC. And if you do use it, you're gonna get some janky contractor coming out to your house and you're gonna get a bad review. Not the contractor, the person that recommended one warranty, which is the realtors. So I got hooked up with Cocoon. What it is, it's a home maintenance platform that avoids using a warranty. And how we do that is when you go to closing and you purchase the care and cover plan, we can ingest the inspection report, put it into our platform and come up with a specialized home maintenance plan for your particular house. And what that means is you look at the inspection report, hey, your hot water heater's 12 years old, it's on the second floor, let's come up with a budget to replace it and move that down. All that's in the home maintenance platform. What we also do is we overlay a warranty on top of that. Okay, and as I said, with me paying for warranties for my buyers or for my sellers, I always looked at it as a sunken cost. Because like I said, I don't want to use it, I don't want my clients to use it, and I never got anything out of it besides $700-800 out of my check. So I was brought on, and what we're doing is everything that goes out for that home maintenance platform, hey, you need to change your air filters, hey, you need to clean your gutters, hey, it's time to do X, Y, and Z. It's going to come co-branded with you, the agent, okay? What that also means is, like you were saying earlier about the check-in call, the all-for check-in call. Hey, 6 months, what, anything going on? Know anybody wants to buy or sell your house? If we give you a reason to call, if there's a service call put in, you're going to get notified. Hey, I heard your AC went down, you had a service call, everything going okay, everything good? Great, how's the house going? Okay, so we have the care plan, which is that home maintenance platform. That's $80 for a year, and what that gets you is we have our contractors. Our contractors are vetted, background checked, everything is done. They have to have a 4.8 or higher Google rating,
with, I think, a limit of 500 reviews. So you're getting top quality people. And what they get with that, for that $80 a year, is you have discounts on services. So they call and they scheduled a service call through our platform for, say, Henderson, WM Henderson. They charge $125 for them to just get in the car and come out to your property. When you do it through the Cocoon platform, it's gonna be $100. So they can save money that way. And then, like I said, we overlay the warranty on top of that. And what we're doing now is we have 2 plans and we have a 3rd plan coming out, but we don't have it coming out just yet, so I don't wanna do it. But basically, I know what you're thinking. 1 year warranty and then it's gone, right? Now, once they're in that home maintenance platform and it gets past year 1 or 2 and they're not paying anymore, they're still gonna get the seasonal reminders, they're still gonna have access to the platform to schedule service calls. Now, if they're not paying $80 a year, they might not get the discount, but anything that comes out is gonna be co-branded with you as the agent, okay? So we're trying to give you realtors some value as keeping you in front of the clients for the lifespan of the home, okay? And then today, besides the lunch, which I hope I have enough food, I was like, I did one yesterday, and they said, 90 people were coming, I got there and there was like 45, so,
Spread the leftover?
yeah, I wish. No, with my kids, they took care of all the cookies. But, also, there's my cards in there, there's a couple brochures. What I can do is, I can give you a free care plan, that $80 plan for the year. Now, what you can do with that is, if you have any closings coming up, or if you had any closings in the last couple of months, you can go ahead and call your clients and be like, hey, here's a care plan. The promo code is MJ Partner 2026, that's my name, Mike Jarrett. MJ Partner 2020, and you get a free care plan for the year. I don't care if you go and you give it to 100 of your former clients. But for me, what I would do is I would go to my book of business and find out who's bought a house from me in the last 7 to 10 years. And you can reconnect with them. Hey, you've been in the house for a few years, the market's heating up, you're year over year, you have this much equity growth. If you're thinking of selling, why don't we get your house ready for sale? Here's a maintenance plan, just take a look at it, free on the house. And then we'll get the discounts and everything like that, okay? Question, sir?
So if you're representing the seller, once the closing has happened, they're no longer under contract with, if I get this right, there's coaches, no more than I do. Once the closing has happened, you could hand that Cocoon warranty to the new buyer that you just sat with and say, hey, this is from me because you were a great customer buying my client's house.
Absolutely.
And you would be branded to that new buyer for the next year.
Absolutely. And on top of that, we do have a listing warranty coming out. That's very, very affordable. And what I'm trying to work on is they have the seller's warranty and, these houses are moving quick and they're most likely not gonna use it. And a lot of them, they don't use it. I'm trying to get them to give maybe that discount on your seller's next purchase of their house. Hey, it's $120 for the seller's coverage, you get $100 off your warranty in your next house. So these are all things that we're working out. But to that end, just to let you know, as I'm building this out, any kind of feedback you have, anything that you're looking for from a warranty company or anything like that. I know AHS is big and Cinch and all these other companies, whatever they're offering you, let me know. I can probably meet it or beat it. But like I said, the biggest thing for me was always giving value to the realtor and, you're gonna spend money, you might as well at least get some marketing out of it, right? So that's all I got. My cards are in there, like I said. Just gonna send over some slides for me that gives you a little bit more detail about the products. And yes, I hope to see some business come through.
I don't know why I like wiring conditions, this $80, it seems like a no-brainer, like even, yeah, free, so why not? So, thank you, Mike. Guys, for those of you that are here. That are prompts, exactly. All right. Yes. All right, I would love to hear, we're gonna do this again, I'm gonna do it throughout. I believe when you do a training like this, whether it's family reunion or mega camp, you really wanna distill everything down into a few actionable pieces. I already asked you a quarter of the way through what you learned. Now I'm gonna ask again. Maybe it was something that was reinforced. So what are you guys picking up from today that maybe wasn't shared before? So what are you learning?
Yeah, thank you.
Let's hear from a few of you. Yes?
Hi, Crystal. One of the things that's been a big takeaway for me is just the course corrections. Like, not thinking that there's a whole bunch of other stuff I need to be doing, but just like, what's one or two things that I can implement consistently?
Yeah.
And that's a game changer.
Yeah. Crystal, right?
Crystal.
What's your last name?
Harrison.
Okay, Harrison. Okay. I appreciate what Crystal said because I see this a lot. We make these plans at the beginning of the year, at the end of last year, and then we completely rewrite it. Guys, you don't need to do that. Like, look at what works, look at what hasn't worked, and make the adjustments. You don't need to rewrite everything. It's that 1 to 10% like I talked about before. Anne-Marie.
This wasn't new, obviously, but I think it was something to reinforce. Is it the quality or the quantity? Are you not
Yes.
doing enough?
Yes.
Or if you're doing enough, are you not doing it well? And I think a lot of agents will come to me and they'll say open houses don't work. And I'll say, they do, and how many are you doing? Well, I haven't done them in 6 months.
Yeah.
Well, they don't work when you don't do them.
Right.
So I think that's a really good reinforcement is it quality or quantity?
Yes. Yeah, and also skills, activity, or mindset, right? All right, who's next? One more person. Let me hear from one more person. Come on in. What did you pull from the second half of this morning or the first, before we went on break? What'd you learn? Yes, thank you.
Just kind of recognizing patterns that are holding you back and identifying what to do to overcome and plans of action move forward for sure.
Yeah. Motion, Evan, okay. Yeah, again, understanding, having that space in your schedule to reflect, meditate, pray, whatever you want to call it, journaling can be really, really powerful, right? And again, awareness leads to choice. Choice leads to change, and unless you're aware of something, how can you ever make a different choice? You can't. So the job of a leader like you, all of you in this room, is to really study yourself and understand what are those patterns that are showing up that are causing me, getting in the way of what I want. I say one thing, but then I'm doing something else. What is that? What's that about? Sometimes I had a couple conversations in the last week with coaching clients where I said, I think you may want to consider. They already had a therapist, but I was like, you may want to consider medicine. And they're at a point with dealing with some hard things that they were in a pattern that they could not get out of themselves without help. And that's okay. I think everybody should have a therapist. In fact, I say to my kids, I'll pay for about 3 or 4 sessions because I know your mom and I have messed you up. And that's just I'll pay for 3 or 4 sessions, but then you're on your own. Then you're on your own. So I think everybody should have that. So, all right, any other thoughts before we move on? Yes.
I have a thought every time I do a mastermind like this, and thank you, Chris. I always think that when we reconnect with our community and not just our community and our clients and our sphere, but when we reconnect in our community and the industry, I find it to be extra powerful because it reminds us that we have been trained, do know the answers. We do know that our mindset is our responsibility, and our responsibility to all of our communities is kind of the key to forward movement.
Yes. Listen, I'm not trying to make a political statement here, but when you look at the state of humanity in the West right now, it feels so contentious. We can't have a conversation. It feels like we can't have a conversation with someone that believes or feels or sees things differently than us without it blowing up. And that's not okay. There's actually a video of, I can't remember if you messaged me. I'll give you all my information before we're done. But he does this YouTube channel where he puts people on different sides of the aisle together, and it so happened to be the one I watched was Black Lives Matter activist and a Christian cop. And of course, in the first few minutes, they're like yelling at each other. Like can't see eye to eye. But then what he did, he took them through a process where they were heard from each other. And by the end, they were acting as, like they literally switched seats and were acting as each other and sharing like what each other thought. And by the time they were done, like they were completely changed people. Like they saw each other differently. And we need that. We need to be understanding what's happening within ourselves because we have a responsibility to the community around us. And I've been to every training, it feels like, that's out there. And the reason I keep going back to what trainings is to be in community with people, right? And stay connected because that community helps you change. You'll hear something you heard before and be like, oh yeah, I forgot about that, or I need to keep up with that. Amory?
Just a quick aside on that, I think one of the biggest diminishing factors in our real estate community is the brokers open have gone away.
Yeah.
And that was a fantastic way for realtors to create community with one another. And since that has gone away, I think the community that we have has gone away. And I think it's up to every single one of us in this room to bring them back.
Yeah.
So why don't we as a tri-company start establishing Tuesdays as the Keller Williams day and time to begin broker opens?
I love that.
And move east to west as we did
Yeah,
before.
love that.
11 o'clock in the east, 1 o'clock in the west, and you work your way west.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing.
All right, we gotta run. If it's okay with you, I probably will go a little overtime. I like to be prompt. However, today we're gonna go a little bit overtime. All right, so we're gonna build the 90-day reset, okay? And I talked about this before, you know, what will you not do, but also what will you do every week, right? Goals fire once, we think about a goal. However, standards fire all the time, right? What is our standard? And so the question would be like, if your goal is I want 24 closings, right? The standard is every week by Friday, I'm gonna have this many conversations, this many appointments, whatever that is, right? So think about as we build this next, your 90-day plan, what is that standard you're going to hold yourself to? And maybe the standard, you know, if it's not 20 conversations, it's like, well, I've been doing 4. All right, my standard is I'll do no less than 5. And after a few weeks, you bump up to 6 and then 7. So the standard is I'm gonna increase my floor. And I have a client that I love her idea is that she did 36 deals last year, more than she ever did before. And she wants the floor to be 30. So she wants to create a business where she only works in it 4 hours a day, give or take, and sells 30 homes a year. And that's entirely possible. But it takes standards, right? So 4 numbers that you really want to understand every week, right? And look, from a maps perspective, there's a lot of numbers you could look at, the economic model, but I'm just going to point a few out to you guys. Appointments, and I start with appointments because while it's not the leading indicator, it is the one in the first half. There's leading and lagging, right? Lagging are influenced by the leading indicators. And there's certainly, if I were to start with leading indicators, conversations would be first, but conversation could lead to what I would call nurtures, which are people that go into your pipeline. These are people that are gonna buy and sell in the next 12 to 18 months. So conversations lead to nurtures. We forget about that a lot. How many people have you found this week that are gonna be buying and selling in the near future? Nurtures then is what you follow up with, so lead follow-up. That leads to appointments. And appointments are a really good indicator of whether your activities and conversion rates are good enough, you know, for you. Next is conversations, like I've been hammering home, and you're sick of me saying it probably, but there's new agents here that aren't sick of hearing it yet, and I need to keep pounding it in. But conversations, right? And here's what I count as a conversation, right? There's a lot of opinions on this. What I say is it's a two-way exchange. I don't care if it's on text or Messenger or Instagram or whatever, but if somebody, you know, reaches out to you and you respond, or you reach out to them and they respond, that's a connection. It's conversation. So pay attention to that, right? And I'll just show this to you real quick. So if you don't have something like this, feel free to email me. Who should I use? Let's do here. Don't tell them I share this to you. But this is what I have. This is what I used on my team for a long time until we got this company called Sisu. But this is the scoreboard. You know, everything's laid out here. Contacts, nurtures, appointments set, help taken. We look at this every week that we have a conversation, right? Right now, this is a problem. Contacts to listings taken, not good. However, he's held a lot of appointments, but he's only taken 7. We're talking that. What problem is that? We talked about activity, skill, or mindset. Skill. That's a skill because it's conversion, right? Do you see how easy that is? It's like, oh, it's right there. I tracked that. Guess what? How did he get that in there? It's his pipeline. It's just simply every day, like he puts in a line and says, well, here's everything that I've done. Real simple. And with his pipeline, this quantifies, he's got to do a little cleanup on this. However, we know that right now, according to what's here, and we worked on this the other day, this quarter, he has $200,000 sitting there. $200,000, right? His goal is only 87.5. Now, what I know to be true is that some of those people are not categorized correctly, but that's okay, right? And we can see here, like, all right, Q4, he's light, he needs more people. So can you see how like tracking these things and understanding these numbers can really bring that clarity to you? And it's not rocket science. I'll give you this template, you can run with it, if Anne Marie's okay with that. I'm sure she has something, or the office might have something for you to use as well, but like use something, whatever works for you. If you're not using the tool, it's not working. Dave.
Chris, I was gonna say that, we used to, years ago, we were tracking like our appointment, our contacts to appointment set ratio. And at that time, it was pretty good. It was like 18-1, 20-1, which we were really proud of. And then more recently, when we went through the same exercise, we realized that we were actually like 50-1.
Yeah.
In terms of contacts to appointment set, and like, we were kind of shocked by that. How much harder we're working now to get the same yield. And I think though that if you're making, say, 10, 20, 30 contacts a week, we just came to terms with the fact that we're not even getting close to to get to 1.
Yeah.
So you gotta change the mindset shift around how many contacts it really takes between net and unnet to get that appointment.
Yeah, and there is a line. Like if you've not tracked things before, you can overdo it, just like going to the gym. You start as simple as you can, right? And you don't need to track everything in the world, but as you get more routine with it, you can add a few things here and there.
I think it's really interesting. People will, from what I hear a lot is they count their social media and, it's so frustrating, right? Because in my opinion, it doesn't count unless there's a two-way exchange.
Exactly.
And, I want to hear your.
I look, unless you have a business where you are the rainmaker and there's a sales team and an operations team, I'm sorry, but social media is not one of the biggest things you should be spending time on. Like you can post here and there, like you can do reels real quick after you've done your official lead generation. And if you don't have it, you have no business trying to reach people that don't know you, like, and trust you until you have a database. Until that database is being communicated with consistently. And who can tell me what the most important touch points on a 36 touch plan are?
Calls.
Yeah, it's your 4 quarterly calls. So again, all you need to do, real simple, you, like I did with Leah, my coaching client, you have 400 people in your database that are Mets. And you have, 90 business days. Okay, well, how many contacts is that? Again, for her, when she looked at how many business days she has this quarter, it was 7 a day, reaching out to. You can't control if they're gonna respond. But she also was like, well, I only text them, I don't call them. And I'm like, I know we're not doing that much anymore. Cindy called me this morning, I was in the middle of my workout, and I'm like, I'm not answering her. But I didn't text her back when I was done, I said, hey, I can give you a call on the way in. But I think, again, it's the human connection. People aren't getting calls, and if you do call, leave a message for the love, please leave a message. And usually what I would do is say, hey, I'm gonna send you a quick video text, please respond. So I do a quick text, video, send it to them, and people usually respond, right? Be human. It doesn't take a lot of time to do that. Do 7 or 5 a day, whatever that is. You can ask.
I just wondered, can you speak a little bit about the quality of the conversations? I those of us who have different personalities, I know numbers and things are kind of like great, like, oh, I did this many, but sometimes I feel like we skip over the quality of the conversation.
What makes a quality conversation?
Well, I'm asking you.
Yeah, well, let me ask you guys, what makes a quality conversation?
Anything that needs appointment.
Okay, well, what's the goal? if the goal is to have a connection that helps your business, I think there's levels to that. You can't call the people that know you, like, and trust you all the time and ask for business. They're not gonna wanna hear it.
They're not gonna like it.
No.
They're
However,
not gonna do it like Orcas.
if they know that you're in the business, what are they likely gonna ask you in your calls?
How's business?
Right. And if they don't, a real simple thing to ask them is like, hey, I'm just curious, you know, I'm in real estate, you have any questions about the market right now? That's very non-threatening, right? It's reminding them. Now, once or twice a year, you should ask them, hey, you know, I'm in business of real estate, I would love to work with more people like you. I really appreciate our relationship. Who do you know that I can work with that's like you? Right? That not only asks for business, but it hopefully makes them feel a little bit good. And hopefully you're not just flattering them, you mean that. Because if you don't like them, don't ask for more people like them, right? Make your life easier. So I think the quality, yeah, you know, when I first did Bold, it was acceptable to go to the street corner of the grocery store and hand out 100 business cards. And I was like, why? That's crap. Like, it makes no difference. I would much rather talk to 20 people that know me, like me, and trust me, and remind them that I'm in the business and have a human connection to keep that relationship strong than just hand out business cards. I think there is something to that. However, over time, there is a number that you're gonna see, you're gonna need to hit. It is a math, right? So, all right. So let's, the other one is lead gen time. I mentioned that professor that assigned a block of time rather than, you know, a certain number. If you're finding that setting a number is kind of messing with your head, then start with an hour or 30 minutes, whatever you can do, just do lead generation. Don't put your phone away. If something's gonna distract you, put it away, all right? And just do lead generation. I know you need your phone generation. However, on most smartphones these days, you can set things that keep people out, all right? So protect a lead gen time, you know, whatever that is truly the 20% of the 20%. If you do that, you will have business. Then the last thing I just wanted to touch on was your follow-up cadence. When you have people that have said to you, oh yeah, we're gonna move next summer. If they're 12 months out, you know, once every 2 or 3 months is fine. But if they're within 12 months, every month, right? On that pipeline I showed you, there's, when you go into the names part of it, it's like, hey, every month you need to talk with those people. And guess what? If you have like 30 people on there, like that's, you know, 2 or 3 people you talk to every day. And a good number to use for that, by the way, if you're going to have a pipeline, is if you want to sell 24 homes, double that, and that's how many people you should have for next year. And if you have at least 48 people, you might need more than that, but that's a good place to start. Can you find and double that? Because some people won't, some people will bump to the next year, some people may be up, but you know, you want at least double your goal in your pipeline. All right. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. And I want to talk about identity. I mean, those that you know me, like Anne-Marie and Kathleen or whatever, this is something that's really important. This goes to the psychological part. It's not just what we do, it's who we are. I have a friend that has spent some time in the Middle East, and what question do we ask people when we first meet them here?
Where are you from?
Yes.
What do you do?
Yes.
How old are you?
Yeah, where are you from? What do you do? But over there, he says they ask, who are you? And it's very different, you know? Yes, it is. And there's a guy named Jamie Winship who spent 27 years in the Middle East. He's not the one that told me that, but his job was to change people's minds. And he so happened to talk to various groups that were threatening to the United States. His job was to meet with them and change their minds. And it was all about identity. Now he's come back, he worked with the CIA in that case, and he's come back, now he's at an organization called Identity Exchange. And, you know, who we believe we are is really important. I just so happened to have come to, this is actually what led me to jump out of real estate and be a coach, was that my identity, a big part of it is, I'm a builder of constructs and a teaching prophet. Builder of constructs means like this whole presentation, I love stuff like this. The pricing tool that I said I created, which I'll give you my email, you can ask me for it, I'll send it to you. I love creating stuff like that, the frameworks that help people understand the world around them. I love that. And then I love teaching and training, like this, like helping people succeed and instead of doing things the hard way, hopefully they learn a little bit and you know, cut some of that out of their lives. So I want to ask you in the next 90 days, what kind of realtor are you going to be? Right? I want you to answer this question. Think about it. over the next 90 days, I'm becoming the kind of realtor who, what standards will define you? You know, what will you experience differently, yourself or your clients? What do you want to be proud of? I'm the type of realtor that never fails to have an average of 5 connections a day. That's who I'm going to be. So as you're answering that, it's important to write down this answer. 10 years ago, I started CrossFit. And, you know, in the beginning, it was a discipline. I had a whole routine of getting, I know it's weird, I had to get in the shower as soon as I got up to wake me up. Then I went to the gym and got sweaty and came back and got ready. But if I put my alarm clock by the sink in our bathroom. So at the time we had, Lily was like 1, infant. So we had a newborn and I didn't want to wake my wife up, she'd be upset. So as soon as the alarm went off, I was like, oh no, I gotta turn it off. And I was right there in the shower, I got in the shower. So I had to do that. I wasn't quite yet the person who would never miss a workout. But fast forward a year, maybe a little bit before that, I started to become the person that would never miss a workout. Right, 5:30, now I go to a gym closer to me, but I would have to get up, usually before that, I went to a gym in Westchester and I'd have to get up at 5 o'clock every morning. It didn't matter how late I was at, but I would never miss a workout. I became someone who didn't miss a workout. So for you, what is that for you? Who do you want to become as a business person in real estate? All right, I want you to write it down. That's one of the last things we're going to do before we wrap it up and kind of put a bow on it. Yes.
Question. You know, this, get up in the morning to start your lead gen. Okay. So you start making the calls. For the middle of the week, most people are off of work by 9 o'clock. So are you just leaving voicemail messages?
Yeah. And here's the thing, if you can do lead gen later in the day when people are not working, you can do that. However, most people can't. They're not disciplined enough, because guess what happens later in the day? All hell breaks loose. I don't care if it's your kids or the business or that seller that's a real pain in the ass, whatever it is, you're gonna miss it. That's why he tells us to do it first thing. So yes, you're leaving messages, you're sending it. My advice to my agents when I was running a team was, I'll leave a quick voicemail, send a video text. Right? If you did that with your Mets, and actually, there was an agent who's not in this office anymore, but Adrian, we had certain leads from, I can't remember what source, but she would send, she's fun, kind of crazy, and she would send video voicemails to new leads when they came in, introducing herself. She converted at a super high level because she, when people see her face and it's a connection, it's like, oh, okay, they're not threatening. It's not just a blank phone call. It's not a robocall. It's a real person. Use their name and all of that stuff. And so she converted at a high level. So if it is in the morning, say, hey, I'd love to connect with you. You're probably at work. I'd love, give me a call back when you're done work or you're on your lunch break or something like that. Make them feel wanted. Make them feel like they matter. Right? And I know that seems cliche, but holy cow, does that not happen today? Yeah.
What do you mean video text messages?
You literally would record a video, self-facing. What was your name again? Evan. Hey Evan, this is Chris. I had a great class the other day, just following up. What did you implement? Send the video file. Yeah. There's also, most people don't use this. I use this with my coaching clients, but Marco Polo, but it's an app I love. It does the same thing, but most people don't necessarily have that. So just record a self-facing video, save it in your phone, and then text it. So that's what I mean by that. Okay, here's what I want you to do, and then we're gonna kind of put all this plan together. I want you to turn to the partner you've been talking to, if they're still here, or find someone else. And I want you to let them take a photo. Actually, first, I want you to sign your name below it. Whatever you wrote, sign your name, I'm watching you.
Over that.
Yes, whatever you wrote down, sign your name below it, and this is who I'm going to be. Sign your name, and if it was electronically, you can type your name, that's fine. Writing's better, but that's okay. And then I want your partner to take a video or a picture of it. Yes, I know. So your partner is gonna take a picture of yours, and then, I know we all use Google Mail here, because we're KW uses Google Mail. And then the last thing, The last thing I want you to do is send a reminder 30 days from now. I don't care how you set a reminder, it doesn't matter. But set a reminder to check in with your partner. If you don't know their information, get it. And follow up with them in 30 days. How are you doing with this? Are you being this person? If you're not, reach out to Chris, he'd love to talk. Because here's what we know, if you're not in community, you don't have somebody else to help you, this is not about holding it over you, this is about helping. So I want you to sign a name, have your partner take a photo, and then set a reminder 30 days from now to reach out. I'll give you about a minute to do this, okay? 1 minute. All right, 15 seconds. You don't need to talk too much. All right, guys, wrap up the conversation. Let's try to get this out on time. 10 seconds. I hear some of you struggling, but it's not easy. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, if you're not done, we'll be done in about 10 minutes, and I'll let you guys finish up then. So one conversation, bring it in. All right. All right, thank you. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go back. Some of you are taking great notes. I want you to go back through your notes. What are 3 things that if you took those 3 things and executed on them over the next 90 days would really, and you should already know what this is. We've been stopping and, so this is like, okay, from a business planning clinic standpoint, a reset. What are those things that are gonna reset for you? All right? One conversation. So it might be conversations plus mindset, right? It might be getting an accountability partner or a coach. I'm gonna talk about that in a second. Like, what are those 3 things? Go back through your notes right now, and I want you to highlight or circle or star. What are those 3 things that you picked up from today? I would love to hear from some folks that I haven't heard from yet. I'll give you a few minutes, all right? Actually, I'm gonna give you. Make it official. Really give this some space to think about, like, what is it that I have to do? Look at your notes, look at what you wrote down. And then on the last page of your notes, or at the bottom of them, what are the 3 things you're pulling out? Okay? Get right back. A little after 1 o'clock, so. When you're done, just raise your hand. No. Quick, like, hey, I'm done.
Done.
It's not a raise. It's not a gauge, make sure that I'm rushing people too much, so. If you haven't shared yet, I would encourage you to consider sharing. Just one thing my wife has taught me for
25 years.
almost, yeah. We're, I don't wanna say pounded into me, but it's like, look, if I don't show up with some emotion, your brain doesn't remember it. You've gotta have some emotional connection to what happened, so like if I'm in my phone and I just say, yeah, I'll do that, it's like, I don't remember because there's no emotion. Emotion anchors what we're doing, right? So I was just thinking, like, if you haven't said much, there might be fear to sharing. Use that fear, right? Okay, who has not done it yet? It's okay if you're not. Okay, cool. I would love to hear from 2 to 3 people that I have not heard from yet. And then I've got a gift for you.
I need to track my intentional connections, not just let them go by, but set the number and actually be cognizant of, am I doing them or not? Cool.
Can I be a goal coach for a second? What does the word need imply?
You're not
I
doing
need
it
to,
now.
I'm going to.
What would you say?
You're not doing it now.
Yes, or there's a lack of, and our brain thinks lack of. So what's a word we could use instead of I need to, what could we say instead?
Going.
I intend to. I intend to do this. So, change the language. Language is really important. It tells us what's really going on up here. So I know it seems silly, but it's really true. So yeah, I intend to track. By when? When are you gonna start doing this?
What's today?
The 15th?
The 15th,
Okay.
16th?
Great. And who can you let know that you've done that today?
Doug.
Okay, great, perfect. So let him know that you're gonna get in touch with him at the end of the day, and you're starting to track that. And it's not a, hold it over your head thing, it's just like, okay, if somebody's expecting me to check in with them and let them know, that there's another, again, I don't know who it was that pays a friend, but it's like, it's kind of like that. All right, who else? Thank you, appreciate that, appreciate you. Yes, Alexis.
I wrote, connecting through conversations is my currency. I wrote 1% better at keeping my attention on specifically lead gen every day and always move forward.
Okay, so translate the lead gen thing to your calendar. What does that look like? What does that mean?
Toggling it to something I already do every day.
Okay, and I love to say this, if you were to hand your calendar to somebody else, as it is right now, no changes, and they were to follow it, how much money would they make? So, what needs to be put on your calendar to do that specifically? How does your calendar need to change, your schedule?
Chunk it out, like a specific 2-hour window.
What have you done regularly before in terms of time for that?
I don't know.
Okay, so instead of 2 hours, what might be something you could do for a fact? 15, 30?
Yeah, I was gonna
Okay,
say 30.
30,
Yeah.
start with 30. And when would that be generally during the day?
Right after my coffee.
Okay, which is at what time?
We're doing 7.
7, okay. Listen, generalities don't help us, right? Like, I'm not trying to be hard or anything, but let's get specific with it. So now you know, okay, 7:15, 7:10 for 30 minutes, start with that. And then, consistently, once you consistently do that for a few weeks, up it to 45 or 40, I don't care, just, up it from there. Okay, cool. One more person.
I have a question about
Yes.
that, because I've heard this before,
Yeah.
where like you start making your calls at 8 a.m. I think that somebody, I think if somebody tried to call my husband at 8 o'clock in the
I
morning,
know.
he would like rip, well, there's no phones in the wall, but
Yeah.
he would
Yeah.
throw the phone or something, like he would be like, that's unacceptable. What's your opinion on that? Is that just, are we just,
Whatever you feel works, like Cindy called me at about 8 o'clock this morning.
that's late.
I know it is, I know it is. I'm sure, yeah.
Like, I feel like the number to me is like after the kids have been dropped off at school, which would be 9 o'clock. Like, I don't.
Here's what's interesting, here's what's interesting. It's, when, depending on how you're connecting with people, if you're showing that you love and care about them, they're probably not gonna be that upset. However, you've gotta make the decision for you. There was a study done, I don't know, 15 years ago, for cold calls, and the best time to call people, generally during the week, is between 1 and 3. On the weekends, it's more like anywhere between like 2 to like 5 on the weekends. I can send you that study, you still have it.
Yeah, that'd be
somewhere,
great.
but, it's just kind of interesting, of
That's
when
for
people-
cold calls.
Yes.
And weekends is what?
Or calls.
In a
TCPA compliant way.
Yes, thank you. Much appreciated.
I mean,
Agree,
And then
100%.
between 2 and 4.
Yeah, roughly, yeah. So, Ginny,
I was just gonna say, but Tina, if that was someone your husband knew
Yeah,
and he would he be upset if it was 8 o'clock in the morning?
I would.
yeah, I know, well,
He kept saying, I
can
call at 8 o'clock in the
Yeah.
morning. Hate being called.
yeah, so you have to use some discretion and make
If I
your own
brush my
decision.
teeth too loud, he's like, oh, I think it depends on the person, like,
Exactly.
he knows that here you're waking up.
Right. And it depends on how well you know them, so if you don't know them very well, just think about that, you
It's
consider it,
common sense, yeah.
Maybe you text them first, say, hey, let me connect with a quick call, when do you have time today? That might get a good response. Alright, one more person with their plan. Thank you, Alexis.
Oh,
Yes. Alright, one conversation.
So, I can't believe I'm gonna say this out loud in this dress, but I'm not a numbers person. But I recognize that the math is important, and keeping track of my numbers is important. So that's the biggest thing I took.
What about numbers do you not like?
I don't know, I don't know, just, it's not that I don't like them, I just don't think that way. I'm more of a qualitative thinker than a quantitative thinker.
Again, be careful of your language. When we say something like I am not X or I am something, right? That just be aware of what you're saying. I'm not gonna start coaching you right now and make you feel real awkward for everybody else, but just be aware of that. So if you say, hey, numbers are not my forte, but I'm getting better at them, like, okay, you can work with that. You could get better at it, right? You just, okay. I mean, literally at the end of the day, like if you sit down and think for 30 seconds, who did I talk to? You can go through your phone. 30 seconds, that's it. Just take 30 seconds and write that down. It's kind of like Fitbit. Do Fitbits actually track how many steps you walk? No. They use some metrics to figure it out, but it's close enough and over time, it's consistent enough, you can make changes based on that, right? Like this Whoop tracks my heartbeat for the most part. It can tell a lot of things from that. Is it super accurate on all the stuff that it tracks? No, but it's consistent over the 6 years I've been wearing it that I know when something changes, it's meaningful. So just track whatever, start with something.
And in saying that, like I've done bold, and every time I've done bold, I've kept track of every person that I've talked to for the week.
Yeah.
And it's super helpful.
Yeah.
And I get frustrated with myself that bold ends and I'm like, okay, like it's Christmas now and I'm busy and I like forget to keep track of them, but I should.
Sounds like you need an accountability partner.
Yes, we're good.
Who wants to be an accountability partner?
Okay, so the first 3 people that text me, I'm offering a 30-minute call. All right, so my number's up there, it's the 995 number. The first 3 people. Maybe I'll do a few more than that, but I can't promise that. I can promise the next 3 people. So here's what I'm offering, is that like for you to experience coaching and to go deeper on this, I'll do 30 minutes. It's roughly worth, I charge about $400 an hour right now for, per hour, so that's $200 per half-hour call. So what we'll do is go over like, hey, what's your plan? Let's dissect it. Let's help you get beyond just the mental blocks of it. And what is that gonna look like? And who's gonna help you do this? Again, accountability is kind of one of those words that like feels yucky to a lot of us, but the truth is, all right, Evan, you're in. The truth is that if we want to achieve certain things, we have to do certain things. And again, we can't do it on our own. We're gonna hit I had this one guy I started coaching at the beginning of the year, second year in the business. He's gonna sell, he did like, I wanna say 30 or 40 last year. And I'm pretty sure he's gonna do 120 this year. The dude's like crazy. However, he's hitting his ceiling. He needs a coach to help him get beyond the chaos and all the stuff he's created so that it's sustainable. He just had his first kid. Like, he needs help, and he's not gonna do it on his own. We all need somebody. So whether it's a professional coach that you pay money to, which, I don't know, in my life, when I've gotten things for free, I just don't value it as much versus if I pay something for it. I would love to connect with some of you. And if you're at, I don't know, somewhere 100,000 to 150,000 in GCI, I would really strongly encourage you to consider hiring a MAPS coach. And the reason Anne-Marie alluded to this is that MAPS coaches know the models. We coach to the models, the MREA models, the lead gen model, the economic model, budget, the organizational model. We study that, we know that. And MAPS has been through a little bit of an interesting time in the last couple of years. However, let me know if you're interested in a coach. I usually don't coach people here. So I will connect you with somebody that I know is a good coach if you're interested. But if you want to achieve goals and you've hit a ceiling and you're not moving fast enough there, let me know. I hire a coach. You can do Breakthrough, which is $450 a month. You get 2 calls per year. Mastery is, I do 40 calls a year, but others do like 44, depending on who you get. So that's 1,000. Which is why I say if you're at like 150 in GCI, it works out. And if you're at 150 in GCI and you want to go farther, a coach can help you get to 300. So consider that from a coaching perspective. I know some of you have MAPS coaches here. What would you say in a positive manner? I mean, if you hadn't, I know some of you have had negative experiences, and there are some coaches out there, you need to find a new one. However, from a positive standpoint, like how have they helped you? Dave?
Chris, I was just gonna say, I think, look, if you take it, whether it's sports, or it's, business, whatever it may be, right? Or exercise, right, in general, right? Coaches have always gotten more out of me than I've gotten out of myself.
Yeah.
They push me more than I would have pushed myself, right? There's also something, I think, psychological and emotional about when you invest money into yourself, or you invest money into something.
Yep.
The expectation that I'm gonna be a good steward of that.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make sure that myself and the people I care about are getting return on that. And if you don't do that, you don't get the same effect from that. And that's what I think makes coaching, and especially through MAPS, very special.
I agree. Amber?
So I have a MAPS coach, but I'm not gonna use myself right now. Johnny Saraceno did not come back after lunch, not that I'm writing about. But Johnny's been in the Westchester Market Center for many years and has always kind of sold between maybe 10 and 12 tons a year. And he's a young man, he's very smart, he's extremely gifted, and he had the potential to do so much more. So we ended up hiring a MAPS coach, and he capped within 3 months. He is actually, for GCI, the number 2 agent in Westchester right now. And, so I'm not gonna talk from my perspective, I'm gonna talk from the team leader perspective of what I've seen from him. And so he actually said to me, oh my God, what do I have to do to be number 1? And I kind of joked, and I was like, well, you're up against my fiance's good freaking luck.
Yeah.
And he goes, give me 5 years.
Yeah.
And you know what? So I've seen this person go from somebody who was good, right? But now I've seen him go to great.
Yeah. And look, I'm not trying to sell you on it. What I'm trying to help you understand is you need somebody. Again, if you're new, you're not at the point where your business makes sense to invest in a coach, fine.
And
Find
you have
somebody
like
else.
free, you get free coaching, right?
Exactly.
By
Here. So have somebody. I had Caleb when I first got in the business, then we became business partners. So have somebody. Don't do this alone. So if you did send me a text, make sure your name's in it. All right. And I will get back to you. Give me a day or 2 to get back to you. And if you're interested in hiring a coach, let me know. Right. I'll give you a free call. Chances are it won't be with me if you choose to have a coach, but I will find you somebody that fits for you. Okay. All right. Last thoughts before I say goodbye. Anything you guys want to share that you learned today or what you're grateful for? Love to end on that note. What'd you learn? Yes.
Well, I'm looking for an accountability partner in best interest.
There you go.
Kathy O'Doherty. And, the video, the clients, she just loved accountability.
There you go.
No idea.
There you go.
I think that's a great
It
idea.
is. It is. It's like social media, but not.
Yeah, better.
Yeah.
My return rate for that is so much higher when I do video text.
Yes.
I love that. I would do the voicemail in the video because it's totally fine.
Right.
Same thing with birthdays.
Yeah.
Everything,
Yeah.
and the response rate is far greater than.
Whenever I see birthdays on Facebook, and I know them and I care about them, I send them a text. And if you get one from me, it would be something like, hey, remember you're unique and handmade, nobody's ever been like you. So there's an opportunity and a responsibility there to live to the fullest of that and help those around you to be better. Lean into that this year, have a great birthday. So something like that, and I always get a response back.
Good message.
Yeah. Any other thoughts? Go Cliff and then Greg, and we'll be done.
This is a slightly different subject, but I just want to recognize an Asian who my wife and I respect tremendously. His name is Mike Cianci.
Yeah.
He takes new stuff, new technology like video, and just explodes it. And I don't know if he has an assistant, I don't know if he has anybody else. He sells, 150. But he does a lot of work with video, which has been very, I think it's really blossomed his way.
Coach. No. He actually, no.
Okay, good.
So actually, I'm just gonna have to top the coaching program. He was actually a product of Keller Williams' exit coaching program. And we actually had to ask him to leave because he was selling way too many homes and it was time for him and he went into Maps coaching and I don't know who he coaches with like that anymore. I actually think he's coaching with somebody through Tony Robbins, but he was with Maps coaching for years and it's doing kind of a different journey of coaching right now, which happens.
Yeah, there's lots of different, Maps isn't the only, I think Greg, you had something you wanted to share.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we do enough of what you said, making the phone calls.
Yeah.
I mean, there's two huge opportunities. One is all the things that any of your clients are doing.
Yeah.
Child graduated, had a new baby, they moved to a new house, didn't use you, maybe that's a good call.
Mm-hmm.
Any of these things, it's a great idea to call them, be authentic.
Yeah.
Don't leave with any real estate stuff. That's a great touch. We all become so frozen when we think about making calls. And oh my God, Mondays, what other day can you say, how was your weekend? I mean, that personal touch that you talked about a while ago, there's a lot of that's lost.
So I'll leave you guys with this. Like I said with my birthday text, every single one of you in here, there's never been anybody like you. There never will be anybody like you. At one point in my life, I looked like James Vanderbeek. Not so much anymore. I may look like him or did, but he's not like me, very different, right? That means that the community, the people around you need you to show up in the best way possible. The gifts that you've been given are purposeful. They're there for a reason. Lean into them, understand them, grow them, invest in them. And when it comes to your real estate business, you have something unique to offer. Care. You can care about them. Very few other real estate agents are doing that. And the ones that do end up pursuing that line of work will thrive. In the coming years, I don't care what technology is out there, it is not going to replace some human being caring for you. Because we know, even though chat may say, oh, you're so wonderful, it's bullshit. Sorry, but like it doesn't mean it. I don't care how far advanced that technology gets, it's not real until a human being, somebody as valuable and as scared as you are on the other side, you can share that connection like we did today. So go lean into that. If you make your real estate business about that, you'll be fine. So thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you.